Okay, we're back. Now we are looking at, and by the way, we're not talking about how you can go buy Bobby Cox Ranch. It's massive. It's already owned by somebody. However, if you wanted to buy a piece of land and raise your own cattle or horses or chickens or what have you, we have our good friend Kyle and Carrie to talk to us about, okay, I want to purchase this particular piece of land and I want to raise livestock. So, how do you take that raw, undeveloped land we looked at before and convert it into a ranch? So, I will let the experts weigh in. Kyle, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. Well, assuming it'd be nice to find one that is the same size as you mentioned. Well, obviously this one's not for sale, and it'll be interesting to see how many are around. That's where Cary comes in to be able to find one of these for you. In terms of getting to this point, you're going to see a much different underwriting from a commercial bank perspective when you get into more of a true functioning ranch versus I'd like to build a kind of a ranch home on a lot of acreage, but just have acreage for my family, be a little bit tucked away, get a little bit away from that city life and that urban life. Holistically, you're going to look at the components the same. The big difference in addition here is going to be obviously the operation of the ranch and then the additional equity component that's going to go in. Obviously, the bigger in terms of land mass, more acreage, you're going to have more cost. But there's obviously going to be a lot more cost too as you put in development costs for the operation of the ranch, whether that's cattle, whether that's horses, whether it's agricultural purposes. And a lot of the banks are going to be looking to who's really running this on a day-to-day basis. What does that mean in terms of what this ranch can produce? For horses, a lot of that can be personal pleasure rather than for business purpose. Cattle, you're not really riding around on cattle. So typically what we see with that is people trying to make money on it, support the ranch, and also, for tax purposes, getting agricultural exemptions. And so really who's operating it, managing it, and then owning it, just like we see from before, are big pieces here. The experience of whoever you bring on, whether it's yourself or somebody else in operating this ranch, is another key component the bank's going to be looking to. And as you get more into an operational focus, you're going to get more into even further into business purpose and going to have a lot more thorough underwriting on some of those minute details like I just mentioned, and are likely going to see a little bit more equity down, probably another 5 or 10%, maybe even more, just depending on how much development cost goes in, if it's an already operating ranch with a ranch home on it, or if you're kind of having to take that raw land and make it, your own ranch from scratch.
Got it. And Cary, you grew up in Oklahoma, so this looks like your backyard. So do you have any thoughts about and that was such an amazing visit. That's what the Texas dream is all about, right? Owning land.
Right. And what you're looking at in this picture is thousands of acres. Actually, I think it's the expanse is maybe 3,000 acres of this particular ranch. Your ranch doesn't have to be that big. That said, though, a larger quantity of land goes down significantly at the price per acre point. So I mentioned, I think in one of the videos, that a 10-acre plot or 11-acre plot can be 12 to 20,000 an acre. It's not that for 1,000 acres, right? We're going down in price point per acre significantly. But what you see in this photo, the development of raw land, they have completely cleared and definitely the underbrush of anything that would be raw. This pond in this picture is man-made. In fact, there are I don't even know how many lakes across Texas, tons. It's known partly for all of the vast number of lakes that you can ski in and fish in, et cetera. Well, all of them, except for one in Texas, is man-made. So it's very feasible to dig and construct a pond, and it is necessary on an agricultural farm. So all of that needs to be considered when doing a ranch and making it look like this. Raw land is very different, as we saw in a different video. But the beauty of it is exactly this. Once you start clearing it and, landscaping it, so to speak, putting the pond on it, it can be amazing, just like this.
Got it. And Kyle, so if I'm thinking about, I want to raise Wagyu beef, these amazing cattle on this particular property, and I can earn a pretty penny. Just like from our standpoint, when I qualify somebody to buy an investment property, I'm able to use that income from a qualification standpoint. Can you do the same thing with livestock?
Absolutely. You can. There's obviously a lot more expertise that goes into that underwriting, right? There's a difference between sirloin and the Wagyu that you're going to raise, Ron. And
right.
So just making sure you have someone that knows that land, has that expertise is huge. And as you get into these much bigger ranches versus just kind of the 10-acre, 15-acre undeveloped land, really getting close to the community banks that are in those areas are so important. The relationship of knowing your banker and using them as a resource. They're going to know the land in the area well. They're going to see a lot more of these loans and these ranches that they're helping finance, and they're going to really be able to help and say, here's what we've underwritten from previous ranches. Here's what we've seen after those have been done, and here's some experience that you can use to take on your own and use for your own property.
Awesome. So my gold leaf wrapped steaks now can come to fruition. So I'm really excited about that, right? That whole sell.
That's right. And most lenders will charge a fee of at least one steak per closing. So just
there you
be
go.
ready for
Well, I charge more than one.
Right. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
No, but to piggyback off that, Kyle, sourcing the local banks that have seen these and know insight about the land. In addition to that, there are really sections of anywhere in Texas, sections of land that will not be feasible for this kind of thing. There will not be water vaults under the ground. So that's this, one of the downsides of, or the upside. Let's talk about the upside of sourcing somebody local for both the bank and the realtor. That's what we sniff out. We understand that that even exists and where those pockets exist. So just it's so important in that regard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great point, Cary.
Yeah. Appreciate everyone's insight on that one.